And she personalized these with my incoming service tagline: more members, more service, more heart. And thank you very much, Candy. They're beautiful. I know that when it comes to thank yous, there's a lot of people that I may miss and I may feel bad about it afterwards, but there is somebody here who has been my rock for the last couple of months as my It says easily distracted by groundhogs, and believe me, I have tried to distract him and it works all the time. But while you're standing up, in a little more serious tone, this is a recognition from all of us here who've had the pleasure to learn and be guided under your leadership. You have been a friend to all of us. You have been available to all of us, and you have pushed the bar to bring people to levels that we never saw them achieve before, as is evident by all of these awards today. So on behalf of your team, we'd like to present we made a donation to Brighter Visions. The amount was not here. We made a donation to Brighter Visions on your behalf. You can leave those there because I'm going to call you up. I'm asking immediate past district owner Gary Green to introduce our installation dignitary for this event.
So y'all, if you leave back what Sid was saying when he was up here before lunch about us liking to call each other to set our phones off. And I called him one day, and mind Judy, I did not know what you guys were up to. I needed to, and I'll follow that real quick, but I called him to ask him a question, and his phone rang. Now I was at home, and it rang, then went to voicemail, so I left him a voicemail, and he called me back. In about an hour and a half, he called me back, just laughing. You would be calling me at that moment. My phone went off. I was in a funeral. Can't make this stuff up, Lion Jim. But this gentleman here and Lion Judy, you can't talk about one without the other, have represented Lions throughout the world. Hong Kong, Bangkok. I can't even think of all the places. You can't imagine all the places you guys have been and the kinds of food that you're eating. Representing this organization, and we represent Central North Carolina, Bass, North Carolina. But he and Judy are highly thought of at the international level. They are highly respected, and we are just beyond measure blessed to have him in our district. And I am very pleased to present to you our past international president, Lion Sid Scruggs, the third.
Thank you very much, Gary. Well, that went better than what I anticipated. The thing about Gary is he has been so willing to step into the harness in leadership when called upon. And many of you don't realize this, but he is very active in his church. He is chairman of his deacon board, and has required a lot of his time. So, Jill, I don't know how much time you get alone with him, but I know, I was going to say it's got to be a small amount of time, but we're sending him home with our blessings. So you can bring back the yard work. You know, it's really interesting that, certainly not when I was over in Nam flying combat missions, but when I got out of the Navy and went to work for American Airlines, and through a long series of funny stories, I wound up as one of the chief pilots opening the crew base in Raleigh-Durham. And oftentimes, not by choice, I'd be one of these all-nighters checking out a new captain, new co-pilot. And so your mind wanders. Well, now at 85, I don't let my mind wander too far because I'm not sure it'll find its way back home. But I begin to start thinking about things that possibly would keep me awake. Important things like, can you cry underwater? You ever thought about that? And how important do you have to be before you're murdered and not assassinated? And why does a person have to put their 2 cents in when you only told him a penny for your thoughts? And another one that's bothered me, particularly in the South, what disease was ham cured from? Cured ham. So, and why is it that we wound up putting a man on the moon before they figured out putting wheels on luggage? I mean, something really useful. And why is it you're in a movie but you're on TV? Really? And why do you park in a driveway but you drive on a parkway? And why does Goofy walk on 2 legs and Pluto walks on 4 legs because they're both dogs? I mean, these are deep things that you have to worry about. And have you ever noticed that the alphabet song and Twinkle Twinkle Little Star are the same tune? And why are you singing that song in your mind right now? And why is it that when you blow in a dog's face, they get really upset, but the first thing a dog does, he sticks his head out the car window? Some things really don't make a lot of sense. And of course, another one that some people have said, well, it's none of your business. But can a hearse drive in a HOV lane?
Got a ticket, don't we?
But sometimes I wonder about more important things. I sometimes wonder that, do I still have the passion that I had when I first became a Lion? And if every Lion in our district or in our state had the same passion that I did and the desire to serve, what would my club look like? And if every club in the district looked like my club, what would our district look like? And sometimes I think we have to be introspective and we have to ask ourselves some of the tough questions about that. There are 2 things that I'd like for us to consider, 2 words, this afternoon, and that's succession and progression. Now, you probably haven't thought too much about it, but succession is where you have a group or individuals sharing specific characteristics following after one another. A succession, one after another. Does succession guarantee success? No, it doesn't. It has nothing to do with success. It only has an orderly progression. Oh, progression. Well, what's progression? Well, progression is a process of a group sharing common attributes moving toward a common goal. It is movement in a positive direction towards a higher level. Does that guarantee success? No, it doesn't. So today, we're going to celebrate succession because we're having the orderly transfer of one person's activities to another. And progression is that we have a common goal and we're hoping to move towards an end that will be a higher level, or basically what we're doing is we're finding it in a better state than what we are starting with. And so the question gets asked, how did you get here? Or why did you get here? Well, many of you got here the same way I got here. And no, it wasn't just by automobile. It was because the phone rang, and the voice on the other end asked me if I would take a position. And so I said yes. And that's how the majority of you all got here. Particularly if you have a job, a committee chair, or action, or whatever the teams are, or you're a zone leader. So if you say that you made a choice in saying yes, I hope that many of you did say, let me think about it. Or if you were anticipating a phone call, and so you'd already thought about it. But I hope you didn't say yes just because you don't know how to say no. Now, Judy has asked me oftentimes when we go on some of these 3 or 4 plane rides up into northern Canada, up around the Arctic Circle, she said, did you really think about this? So she has me now at least 5 minutes a day. I stand in front of the mirror and say, no thank you. Thank you for calling, no thank you. I have another appointment, thank you, but no thank you. So I hope that in this thing when you said, except you had a choice. And I recently saw a movie on the adaptation of Nicholas Sparks' book, Choices. And in that, it was interesting that some really insignificant choices had very dramatic effects. One led to another. And so that some of those minor choices developed into very large choices. And I think that when we stop and think about the choices we made, that we accepted this position. And so no time during this year, when you're asked to do something, I don't want to hear the words, I'm just a volunteer. No, you're not. Now, you're almost an indentured servant because you said, I will. I accept this position. That was your choice. Now, it can be your choice to call the governor and say, I quit. I'm going to ring the bell. I'm out of here. But in making that choice, there are 3 C's that you really have to consider. The first one was choice. The second C is commitment. And I hope that you understand fully that when you made that choice to be in a position of leadership, it requires a commitment. A commitment not only to show up on time, or maybe 12 minutes early, but what it is, it's a commitment to understand where you're going, why you're going, and who you want to go with you. Because if you're a committee chair, don't sit at home and wait for the telephone to ring. It's not going to happen. So we have to be proactive in getting our message out to the individual clubs. Because the clubs that aren't here, and I realize I'm preaching to the choir, but the clubs that aren't here probably don't even know that your committee exists, much less who are you. People would ask Judy and I all the time, where is VAS? And I'd promptly tell them, it's really simple. It's exactly halfway between slow down and resume speed on US 1, just south of Raleigh, North Carolina. And our son Kevin, when he was at Liberty University, and people said, they were kidding me about being a little town of Vass. He said, have you people never heard or used Vaseline? Now, they never asked him if Vaseline was made here, so he really didn't have to lie about it. But sometimes, you have to be a little bit more creative than that. And so when you make that commitment, you're also committing to teamwork, that you're going to work with other people to make things happen. And so if we make the choice to participate, and we make that commitment is that we also have to know everything there is to know about our job. In the military, I was taught, not only know your job, know the job below you, so you know whether or not your troops are performing, and know the job above you, so you know what the person above you, your direct report, expects of you. So it just really breaks down to pretty simple when you stop to think about it. But you have to make that commitment to say, I'm going to develop myself and be a better lion than I am today, because I'm going to take the training that's available. I'm going to go back and read the job description a little bit more in detail so that I can perform up to the expectations. And my progression will be a personal progression because I have advanced to a higher or a greater state in which I am now in as far as the knowledge of Lionism. And sometimes that progression has to be shared with our individual lions because when we're recruiting new members, we have to make sure that they understand why they want to become lions in the first place. You will have people that maybe will approach you that want to be lions because they want to validate themselves on what a great person they are, or what a wonderful philanthropist they are. So by joining the Lions Club and giving them their time and their talents, they feel like they're validating their worth. And you've often heard that expression, have I earned the right for another day? That is not what Lionism is about. As the old boy said, it ain't about you. And I think that was mentioned in the prayer today. It's not about us. When we serve those in need, what we're doing is we're validating their worth. So in all of your service to those in need, that need a helping hand, realize you're not validating yourself, you're telling to them, you are worth something, and you're worth enough that I'm giving up my time and my energy to try to help you through this difficult time you're going through. And that will change your perspective on what it means to be a loving individual offering needed service. L-I-O-N-S. Really simple, but it is a commitment. So if you've made a choice and you say, I'm making a commitment, there's a challenge. And the challenge is huge because you can get all fired up and coming to a meeting. I know you get all fired up when you go to a zone meeting because they're so exciting. And going to a cabinet meeting and listening to all those reports about how many broom sales that they've observed and how many chicken dinners they've eaten and stuff like this, you can really get excited about that. But you have to challenge yourself every single day. Some of you may be familiar and some of you may not, and it's not my intention to draw into anyone's particular religious faith or beliefs. But many of you realize that in the New Testament of the Scriptures, the Apostle Paul wrote letters to individuals and he wrote it to churches. And recently in a devotion, I was reading, and it was just a very small letter that the Apostle Paul wrote to Titus. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to steal that line. Because this is what he wrote to Titus. In all respects, show yourself a model of good works. And in your teaching, integrity, dignity, and sound speech that cannot be condemned. Isn't that what we're about? That we want to show ourselves to the world as models of good works. And when we're talking to other people, we're going to be respecting them. We're going to show them the dignity. We're going to be intelligent. And the speeches that we give and the things we talk about cannot be condemned because we're speaking the truth. Now, I take a little bit of a variance with that because my mentor and my older brother told me, Lacey, that any good story is worth embellishing, right? But you've got to get back to basics. So if you challenge yourself every day to remember, I'm part of a team. I'm part of a progression. I've completed succession, now it's the progression that I'm going to. And making sure that you have a winning attitude and that the governor's goals for this year are your goals. That we're working as a team. So that at the end of the day, you can say, yes, I did help someone. Yes, I did good use of my time. Yes, I modeled what a lion should be in doing good works and helping my fellow man. So there are no excuses, no explanations, and no regrets. And if we can do that, then we will come at the end of the year, this time next year, and we can look back, and Gary can say, Susan had a great year because she had a year better than mine. And Gary, you had a fantastic year. And that's what it is. That's the progression. That's what we're looking for, always advancing. And so now it's my honor at this time to install the cabinets. But before I do, I want to bring your attention to a couple of things that came out of Lions Clubs International. All of the resolutions passed in a large percentage, either 88 or 96, 97 percentile. And a couple of them is that there is a new club designation, and some of the secretaries will be more interested in this, is that there is a designation now of a member that is not paying full dues. So if you're a spouse or a member of a family and where the primary person is paying full and you're paying half dues, it's only the international because you're not paying half dues in your club, you're not paying it in the district or the multiple district. But because you're paying it to half dues to international, there will be a special specification, classification, and your membership will not count towards the total number needed to indicate the delegate strength. Now, I hope you understand what I'm saying is that, let's say that you have 20 members in your club and you say, okay, I've got 2 delegates. But 4 of them are paying half dues, so now your count for delegate strength is only 16, so now you only have one candidate. And that only appears when you go to international, and so oftentimes it doesn't come into play, but you need to be made aware of that. The other thing is, and I mentioned this at this time now, and get all of this out of the way, that they changed the Constitution and bylaws, and they have added some new requirements, not only for the district governor, but for the first vice district governor, the second vice district governor, the region chairs, and the zone chairs. And you might as well bring it right on down to the club level, because we know that that's where so much of it really happens. And item 1 and item 4 need repeating. Now this is under the second vice district governor, and it's a zone region, is exactly the same. Item 1, further the purposes of this association resulting in membership growth in the district. And that is there for each of the positions. And item 4 is be familiar with resources to support club development. Now that seems so simple, but that goes back to the commitment and the challenge of making sure that you are developing leadership potential within your club, that you're preparing for adequate succession within your club, and then to be able to say, this person is ready to move outside the club level and progress into the zone and right on up. So we always have a continuous growth of leadership that's following. And in doing the membership growth, we're saying that we want to be able to get Lions that are willing to serve and give of themselves. And that's why the membership growth is in there. You may be surprised to learn that worldwide, even though the past President Brian Sheehan had a great year, worldwide we lost over 32,000 Lions. Worldwide, we lost 32,000. In the United States, we lost 6,000 Lions, even with the growth. So you can see when Lion Gary was talking about how we only had positive growth and this, that, and the other, we did a fantastic job. But there's more to be done. Because as we're looking around at not only our global economy, but looking even within our own communities, there are people that need assistance. And we have to be willing to make sure that we're using our resources properly so that we can. So I don't want to bring that to your attention. And so now we're going to go ahead and install the cabinet, the committee positions. And so, to make this a little bit easier, as I call your name, if you would come up and stand beside the governor, because she has a packet or a pen to hand to you. Boys and Girls Home of North Carolina, Joe Kennedy. Brighter Vision, co-chairs, Carly Hall and David Kennedy. Budget and Finance, Paul Silverman. Bylaws, Paul Mark. Camp Dogwood, Jake Seagull. Celebrate Liberty, Santana Dorley. Chaplain, Harvey Whitmer. Childhood Cancer, Wayne Courtney. Clinical Eye Research, Fred Jordan. Constitution Bylaws, Paul Morrow. Diabetes Awareness, Meredith Mitchell. Environment, Jarius Garner. Fellowship and Partners, co-chair David Kennedy. History, Howard Wallace. Hunger, Ann Garner. Information Technology, Overcome Ali. LCR District Coordinator, Jamie Lockhart. Leader, Guide Dog, Bill Womack. Leo Clubs co-chairs, Mark Gaylord and Santana Dorley. Lions Alert, Eric Braun. Literacy Reading Action Program, Sharon Stone. Marketing and Social Media, Alicia McNeil. Midwinter Convention, Susie Daly. Mobile Screening Unit, KidSite USA, Jim Matlin. North Carolinians Hall of Fame, Ron Kelly. Newsletter, Morgan Fadley. Nominations, Randall Clapp. Past District Governors, Chris Headley. Peace Poster, Brenda Cox. Promotions, Robert Thompson. Properties, Dale Dupree. Protocol Advisor, myself. Public Relations, Information and Education, Alicia McNeil. Research and Long Range Planning, Dale Dupree. Sergeant at Arms, Ken Stein. Site and Hearing Conservation, Michael O'Brien. State Convention, Barbara Thompson. Technology for the Blind and Visually Impaired, Troy Jordan. VIP Fishing Tournament, Pinky Jordan. And volunteers, Dale Dupree. It's a long list of names. And for many of you, you may not ever get a call from a club. And so what I would ask you to do is to consider very sincerely that you get your message out by way of the governor's newsletter. Because a lot of people may not understand what it's all about, because some of your jobs are under a very short, specific time. Others are long running. And probably those of us that may be on the mailing list of Boys and Girls Home, we get the letter updated, but the average line is not getting it. So you need to take advantage of the opportunity to explain the reason of your committee and how you can help them in needs. Most communities we hope we're not going to be disaster relief, Lions Alert, but we want the people to know that you are available if the needs arise. And so I'm going to ask you 3 simple questions. Now that you've heard the challenge, do you still accept your position without hesitation? If you do, please respond. I do. I do. And do you believe that, as the International President is saying, making a better world, that by us looking at individuals, we can change the world one individual at a time? Because when you help change that person, you're expanding that beyond that person with the influence of that person's world. And so little by little, we can make a difference. And if you believe that together we can, please respond. I do. I do. And 3, the commitment and the challenge. Do you promise to challenge yourself daily to stay involved, to still be excited about your committee position, and do everything you can to promulgate the information that you have so that the Lions of North Carolina of the District 31 are fully aware of the extent of our experience and help us with. If you will, please respond. I will. Upon the authority invested me as a past international officer, I hereby declare the committee chairs for the upcoming Lions year are duly installed. And I think the Governor, you already given out pins?
I will be there. I would like you to file this way so that you can get your pins, which we use recycled eyeglass cases.
Okay, thank you. Okay, while they're going over and getting their pins, I'm going to call the next group to be installed, and these will be the zone chairs. There are 11.
Susie, there's also a little bit of
11 zones to be installed today. Zone 1, Ted Tozer, Waxhaw. Zone 2, John Hartzell, Norwood. Zone 3, Jamie Gerald, Hamlet. Zone 4, Jairus Garner, Northmore. Zone 5, David Kennedy, Coleridge. Zone 6, Chip Ashman, Kander. Zone 7, Candy Guy, High Point. Zone 8, Barbara Dixon, Guilford County Wide Cyber, Guilford County Wide Cyber. Zone 9, Louise Yuzel, Reedsville. Zone 10, Crystal Stubbins, Sanford. And Zone 11, Steve Timberlake, Oxford. Okay, if I can get the zone chair sort of moved down this way a little bit. And yeah, keep your eye on going down. Okay, and the people in the audience will excuse your back, so if you will turn and face me. I hope that you all will take advantage of the outstanding training that has been set up by the district. It's much more elaborate than probably it has been in the past, where we've had really training syllabus that is there online and you can go back and review it. Because the old days of us saying 3 meetings and a social, that's gone. Now you're much more involved in the health and the welfare of the clubs in your zone. I talked to past international president, a good friend of mine. We served together on the international board back in 2000, and he later became president after himself from Australia. And I asked him, I said, Barry, what do you require of your zone chairman in Australia? And he said, very simple, the zone chairmen are honorary members of every club in their zone. And I said, honorary member? He said, yes, they're required to attend 1 meeting a month. And I said, 1 meeting a month? And he said, right. He said, sometimes it's got to be at least 1 meeting a quarter. But he said, you can't tell how a club is doing at a zone meeting or by calling and asking them what they're doing. So my challenge is to you is that you stay in touch with your clubs every single month, at least by a phone call, an email, and ask for copies of the board of directors minutes or the club activities so that you feel a part of that club. I know in my own club, after a board of directors meetings, when we have the action that's taken before the club, once we agree upon it, it's sent to every member of the club. And you should be having a copy of that also, so you know exactly what it is. Because when you come to, you are the eyes and the ears of the district governor in those clubs in your area. You're going to know when they're just about ready to go on status quo because of missed payments. You know when there's a conflict in there that needs resolution. You're going to know much before the district governor because she's going to make 1 visit, or her representative, one of the vice district governors. And that's going to be it for the year because that's all international is going to reimburse for. So you have got to let them know how your clubs are doing. You're the one. And if a club starts to fail, it's not the district governor's fail, or the first or second, it's your failure, because you didn't keep us surprised. And so I ask you simply again, you've made the choice to accept, and I'm going to ask you to commit to the challenge If you accept this position, knowing full well the responsibilities as zone chairman, please respond, I will. And B, do you believe that working with your clubs, you can watch the clubs grow and see that they are developing leadership? Because hopefully, you will see a club president that you're saying was outstanding, and you've been able maybe to give some encouragement or even some mentoring, so that when your term as zone chairman is up, you can recommend to the incoming group, this person will make a good zone chairman as my replacement. And so do you commit to that responsibility? If you do, please respond, I do. And I think that if we do this together, we will have a very great year. So I hereby declare on the authority invested in me as a passive national officer, that the zone chairs from Upland Street 31 are duly installed in the coming year. Go out and make us look proud. Thank you very much for your willingness to serve. Okay, the next group that we're going to install are the global teams. Global Extension Coordinator Gary Green, Global Leadership Barbara Thompson, Global Membership Juanita Brown, and Global Service Tony Cinchetta. Okay, if you would face this way. The International has worked for many, many years in trying to develop a program that's actually going to work. And I can remember being there in that first group of the North American Growth Program. We met in Birmingham, Alabama, right after I finished this government. And we watched you go to the Rural Team and the Rural Aid and all these other different activities. So now we've come down to global action. We've come down to extension, leadership, membership, development. And so you all are going to be looked at as the depository of information of what needs to be done. So as far as leadership development, sometimes you have to prod the people and say, how are you coming on your development? The average Lion out there does not even know that there is a Lions mentoring program available. It's a step over a 5-year period for the growth of new Lions. If we were to take a canvas of all the Lions in our membership right now and say, how many of you had a proper orientation and indoctrination, we're going to find out it's a very small number. And so what we have to do, we have to get that information out through either contacts at cabinet meetings, and we know that not everybody's going to come to the cabinet meetings. Sometimes you can't even get all the club presidents to be there. And so we have to use other media, and the easiest one is a print media. And sometimes you can find out how things are going by your direct contact with the zone chairs. And you heard the zone chairs, they accepted the commitment and the challenge. And so there's no reason when you call them and ask them what's going on, they go, I don't know. Okay? Because they've committed, they're going to do that. And so I just ask you 3 simple questions. Do you accept the position in which you have been appointed? If you do, and do you believe that we can progress and make this a better, stronger, and have better leadership so we can see a very successful succession of leaders each year as they move up the thing? If you do, please respond. I do. And do you commit to the best of your abilities to ensure that we are all working on the same page? And if you do, please respond. I do. Upon the authority invested in me as a passive national officer, I hereby declare the global teams fully installed for the coming year.
And before you, there's a... You're going to hear more later, but on the count of 3, I want you to squeeze. Okay. 1, 2, 3. This team is the team that is going to suffer the most stress. So the groundhog is popping out of the tree.
Okay, the last of the installations we're going to do today are the elected positions. So I'm going to ask First Vice District Governor Judy Keck, Second Vice District Governor Juanita Brown, Cabinet Secretary Bob Gwynn, Cabinet Treasurer Lorraine Dupree, District Administrator Susie Daly, and immediate past District Governor Gary Green. Please come down front. Okay, and if you would also face me. We're looking at the heartbeat of the association as far as our district is concerned. You are the ones that are going to make sure it happens. We've installed the ones that are out there in the field doing the work. They're the hands, the feet. You are the heart and the brains that are working together, making decisions, motivating, giving advice, and counsel to the district governor. The district governor has laid out a fantastic plan for the coming year. It's just a matter of will that plan be implemented to success. And Judy, your first day as incoming district governor begins today. Because you're absorbing all of this information and knowledge of what you've done standing beside you here. Watching Governor Susan, planning for your year. I think the greatest thing that ever happened to me is when I was asked to step back in Boston several years ago and come back as a candidate for second vice and the national president. Because it gave me a year of planning. I was told it's yours to lose. Start preparing. And I think Brian Sheehan has said the same thing when he waited until he was fully prepared. And so now this is your beginning training. And when you're doing the same thing. You're training right now to go in. Any question you got about finances, here's your expert. Secretary, administrator, an immediate past district governor has done an outstanding job twice. It's all there. You're going to find out that our governor has got some exciting things planned. Already got an outstanding speaker coming in for the district. Working together, we've got an outstanding speaker coming in for the state convention. All of these things are coming. But the challenge is getting the message down to the Lions so they're so excited they can share with their friends the excitement that we know that can happen and the lives that can be changed. But we need help. And if we're going to develop leadership, it's got to start from the top and work its way down. You have got to be a model of good works. You need to be able to speak with integrity and dignity and sound speech that cannot be condemned. And if we do that, we will have had a very successful year. So A, do you accept the position that you have been elected to or appointed? Please respond, I do. And B, do you believe as working as together as a team, we can have more members, we can have more fun, we can have more excitement? And if you believe we can, please respond, I do. And you commit to the best of your ability to be supported. And that for this year, the governor's goals are your goals. And you're working together as one unit, looking for a very successful year ahead. And if you will commit to that, please respond, I do. On the authority invested in me, I hereby declare the officers, cabinet positions of District 31 are duly installed. Thank you for your service and your willingness to serve.
give you rights. Thank you.
Before I officially turn it over to our district governor, who was duly installed by the international president, Dr. Patty Hill, in Boston, I have one more group that I want to address. Some of you have heard my analogy of the interview with Leonard Bernstein. But for those of you that haven't, I'm going to share it with you now. Leonard Bernstein is a very world-renowned conductor on the orchestra. And he was interviewed one day and he said, Maestro, out of all the orchestras you've conducted worldwide, and particularly here in the United States, we have one question we'd like to ask you. One additional question it was. And he said, what's that? He said, in your estimation, what is the hardest instrument to play? And without hesitation, he said, second fiddle. And the interviewer said, second fiddle? And he said, yes, second fiddle. And let me explain why. He said, I see people every day that are extremely talented, passionate about the instrument they play, well-trained, well-versed, willing to give of their time and become even better. They're capable of sitting in the first chair. He said, what I don't find is someone who has the same ability, the same desire, the same passion, and the same work ethic is willing to sit in the second chair. They're willing to sit in the first chair, but not the second chair. And why do I say that? Because all of us are sitting in the second chair. The first chair is playing the melody. The second, third, and fourth chair are playing the harmony. And if you don't have the harmony with the melody, you don't have the beautiful music. And so when I ask you, will you demonstrate the same passion, the same desire, and the same commitment and challenge that you've seen your elected and appointed officers be this year? And if you will make that commitment and challenge, I would like for you to stand in recognition of your willingness to accept the challenge for this coming year. Please stand. Thank you for your willingness to serve. I'll give you to our district governor, Susan O'Brien.
First of all, we are so honored to always have, first of all, to have you in our district. Your wisdom, your experiences, and your just ability to move us really is exceptional. And it's always a pleasure to have you. Thank you very, very much. So, I think at this moment we were going to do the banner exchange. Is that, as my protocol advisor, we are now going to do a banner exchange between the Aberdeen Club and the Waxhaw Club. So with the officers or designated officers, or as many people as want to participate in that, please come to the front. I'm being told it's behind me. My husband will help with this.
So the tradition is that the club of the immediate past district governor presents the banner to the incoming district governor, and our club will proudly display this at all of our meetings and our gatherings. So thank you for that.
Can you turn around and present it?
like to present our officers.
Supposed to look this way.
Thank you.
I see a white shirt, but that's
Thank you.
So at this time, I'm not going to do the talking. You're going to hear a lot from me. One of the teams that is most important, and the ones that I teased a little while ago with the stress groundhogs, is the Global Action Team. This is a primary group of people who have stepped up to really drive forward the key initiatives and programs of Lions Clubs International or Lions International. And so I'm going to ask each one of them to prepare about a minute of remarks because, number one, I want you to know who they are because they play such an instrumental role in the development of our clubs, the growth, the health, and the leadership. And I'd like to start out with Past District Governor Barbara Thompson, who is our Global Leadership Team Chair for the district.
Barbara, before you run your mouth, can you just smile so I can take you?
Thank you. Good.
That goes for everyone that's going to talk.
Do it, you smile, and then you can talk. Well, I'm very honored to have this position. I'm excited about it. A couple of things before we get there. You picked up when you came in a little bookmark on leadership. Keep this with you because it's some things we're going to be talking about throughout the year. And then I also gave you a survey because it's not about what I think we should know. It's about what we all want to learn. So if you would, if you fill out your survey, there's a yellow basket in the back. Drop it in that yellow basket and we'll compile it and see what we're going to do with it. I'll be brief, but I want to say a few things. Okay. As my position, Global Leadership Chair, I think about myself. As we were saying, when you come in as a new Lion, you don't know what you don't know. So I've had great mentors along the way that helped me develop and help me learn. So this is something that we really want to work on in our district, is really what can we do to learn, to grow, and just to be the greatest district when we end our your term. So there are 4 things that I'm responsible for. Number 1 is to ensure that all of our officers are trained. Right now we've got, I'm not quite sure the numbers, Bob, you might have to correct me, about 45% of presidents, 29% of secretaries, and about 22% of treasurers. So we're well on the way. So here's a question to the officers out there. Can we get to 100%? Can we do it? Yeah. Excellent. Ensure that all of our zone chairs are trained. And aren't they all trained now? Except one?
David, did you finish online?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, well.
So I don't have to ask the question, can we do it? We did it. So congratulations, zone chairs. They're 100%, so great. The other one that I think is a very great objective of us is to ensure that all of our new members receive new member orientation. Because if you come in, you don't know, again, what you don't know until somebody kind of tells you about it. So we're going to have our first one in August, so more details to come on that, and each 4 thereafter. So here's a question. Can we do it?
Yes.
Good. The 4th one is to increase the total number of Lions participating in leadership development. And I have to say that the statewide has done some great leadership development opportunities. So we want to continue that. We have to increase it by 10%. So you have the survey you filled out. We want the suggestions. And nothing is off limits mostly. So just let me know what they are. but can we increase our total number of Lions in leadership development? Can we do it? Excellent. We also have a mission from Lions Club International. It's called Mission 1.5, and you hear more about that from our governor. But President Patty Hill has asked us, right here in North Carolina, to change our communities like only we can to meet a goal of 1.5 over the next 4 years. So let me hear it from you guys. Can we help do it? Yes. Can we help do it? Yes. Excellent. Yes, we can. Now, I hope you've heard a couple of words through here. We and you, because it's not about me, it's not about our district governor, it's about all of us coming together. Maybe you have a passion for membership, public speaking, club development, maybe it's personal growth, but I'm going to be calling on a lot of you guys to help in the training because I can't do it because I'm not experienced in all these areas. So we're going to work together to provide the training, and then we're going to hear from Lions across our district. So one more time, and I got this from Bob the Builder, right, Meredith? Remember Bob the Builder? Can we build it? So guys, I did it emphatic. Ready? Can we do it? Yes, we can. Excellent. Thank you, guys. So call me anytime.
Thank you. Tony? For clarity, his name is Tony Cianchetta, not Chinchilla. But the fact that he has tolerated and responded and laughed about that just goes to show you what a great natured person you are.
Thank you. Don't yell at me. I learned quick. So you talked about level of stress. My level of stress is following this guy. He talked about the 100% of the clubs that actually reported services. What he didn't say was there are 5 districts in the state. We are one of them. We accounted for 35% of the service data in the system. So we had over 1,100 service projects, over 155,000 people served, and over 21,800 service hours. So 20%, we are 20% of the state, we account for 35% of the number. So give yourselves a hand on that. Yeah, two more things to say. Number one, we have a couple of goals for this year, and what we want to do is we want to actually see more of those numbers. We want to see more service projects, we want to see more people served, and we want to see more service hours. So I will be contacting the zone chairs. I'll be working with the individual clubs, and we've got some ideas for you on new service projects, ways to actually get those hours up, get those projects up, and hopefully beat Gary's numbers. Beat him into the ground if we can. Gary and I had this little running gunfight, if you hadn't noticed. The other thing is there's a new Lion World coming out middle of September. And my job, another point of stress, is that my job is to train everybody on how to use that. So I'll be doing the beta program, learning the system, later on this month. And then once it rolls out, I'll be putting some tutorials out there. I'll be contacting club secretaries to be able to put stuff in there. And then the third thing I want to say is that many, many decades ago, I too was born on February 2nd.
That's why we get along so good. Thank you. I'm now going to call up Juanita Brown, who is our Global Membership Team Chair. Juanita?
Thank you.
Thank you. And I want to say, one of my favorite people in the world, my son was born on February 2nd. Thank you all for choosing me to be your second vice district governor and trusting me with this position. And like Sid, I do accept your challenge. And I have been studying. Believe me. As your global membership chair, one of the things that we really want to focus on is how can we retain the members that we already have. There's a global membership survey that's out there, and I'm encouraging each one of you to take that survey, take it to your meeting, and give it out to everybody. Let's see what we can do to retain the ones that we have. What can we do? What kind of new ideas can we come up with? Look around you. 130 people, 140 people here today. Each one of us has an idea. Each one of us has a new idea. Let's share them with our clubs. Let's share them with our district. Let's see what we can do to change things. My goal is to help our district governor to increase our membership. Each one asked one is something we've been saying for quite some time. Are you asking anybody to come? Are you inviting anybody to come to your meeting with you? Are you inviting people to do your service projects? One of the people that's here today with us in my club, we invited her to participate with the service project. The next week, she came back and joined and has been an active member. If we ask, we get them coming to our meetings. If they can't come to a meeting, let them come and do a service project. What better way than to get your hands involved in what you're doing? Let's look around our neighborhoods. See, what does your neighborhood look like? Who are you serving? Does your club look like the people that you're serving? I'm very passionate about that we're all inclusive and that we are including everybody in our neighborhood. Look around. Look around at all of us. We're not all the same. But are we forgetting to ask that person that just moved next door to us to come and share with us? Are we remembering that? I am available. I just recently retired and I'm so proud of that. And so I'm one of those people that would not commit until I retired. Lon Paul has been after me for 6-7 years and I said, nope. But when I got ready to retire, I says, I'm praying about it. He told me he was answering to God's prayer. I don't know about that. We are committed to starting new clubs. We'd like to start 6 new clubs. And we have started working on some clubs within our district. Ramsar Clubs has 16 interested people. Only one has signed my paperwork. Until we get those people in the paperwork, it's still a dream of mine that we do have a club in Ramsar. Ramsar had a club years ago, and for some reason, in fact, David was an original member of it, but it folded for some reason or another. But let's all our clubs that are sponsoring a new club get behind and support that new club. They need to see us. If we're sponsoring a club, they need to know that somebody is there to support them. They won't know. Can't just start a club and kick them out to the wolves. Let's be there to show them. Each one ask one, if we invite one. And if my number will be in your directory when you get it in your hands, I'm available. Just give me a call. And I will be calling some of you to schedule club meetings. In fact, I got a club meeting scheduled today. Thank you.
Lion, Gary, would you like to add to that as our Global Extension Chair? This is a new position, and it's very important.
Thank you, Juanita. 6 new clubs is our goal for the year. We have Scotland County, Randleman, and Ramsar are the 3 we're sort of counting on, knock on wood. We have others we've talked about, so we'll be seeing some work on those coming up. But the other thing we need, we can put clubs anywhere. We got like 40-something communities in our district that do not have Lions clubs. So what we need are people who want to learn how to recruit for and start a Lions Club, people who want to learn how to be a guided lion. We only have so many people we can assign. So we're looking both to start new clubs, but we need guided lions to do it. So our goal is 6. We're going to hit 6.
You're not leaving alone.
Going back to Jill now.
Pittsburgh.
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 Oh, there's Pittsburgh interest. I had heard that. Thank you. The importance of this is that these are really the 4 people that I'm going to be leaning on a lot to be eyes and ears, and for you to be leaning on a lot to get the message and the support that you need in each of the clubs. And now, I do want to just give briefly, I'm going to ask you all to stand up together and come up. Bob, Lorraine, Judy, and Juanita. And I'm going to pass the microphone for some very brief remarks. I want you all to know and appreciate the work that these people are doing for us. So I've asked them to just give a little bit of a moment. I would like you to know who they are, what they do, and why they're so important to me and the rest of us.
I am Bob Gwynn, and I'm going into my 4th term as Cabinet Secretary, and I am honored to be part of this new team going into 23-24. Part of the responsibilities of Cabinet Secretary for what I do is I track all the metrics that we use to determine which clubs and which secretaries and so on want to get awards. And what I do is send a quarterly report to the district government every quarter to give a summary of where clubs stand. Now, anyone can ask me at any time where they stand within their club. If you don't wait too late, I can update you on what you need to do and where you currently stand. But if you wait beyond where you cannot recover from a metric, then it's too late. And I'll have to inform you of that. And part of my other responsibility is to record all the minutes at the cabinet meetings. And for the last 3 years, what I've attempted to do is write the minutes in color. Because as you can see here, if we have 140 people there, we're less than 90% in attendance. Many people are not able to attend, or they have conflicts, or for whatever reason if they're not here. But they can look at the minutes and find out exactly what has happened at the cabinet meeting. So I try to get those out promptly within 2 weeks because we have a responsibility to do that with Lions International. I'm here to help if you need assistance in my LCI. I will update the delegates form as President said stated earlier regarding partnerships and dues payment. I am responsible for training every year, and I distribute the newsletter. Now, 24 hours ago, I put out the first newsletter. Everybody should have gotten that from the district government. It's a great newsletter. If you haven't looked at it, then your secretary and your president was on the list. And I had 155 people on that mass distribution. I will do that every month when the newsletters are created. And speaking of a popular day of the year, it's February 2nd. My older sister was born on February 2nd.
There must have been a wonderful, statewide, worldwide power outage for days. My name is Lorraine Dupree. I am your cabinet treasurer. I am, as Paul North named me a few years ago, the Bulldog. I will be the one that will be sending out your dues invoices. They are sent out twice a year. The first ones will go out August the 10th. They are due within 30 days. I will send those invoices out to all officers, president, secretary, and treasurers that have emails in our directory. If you do not have an email, I will send it out via snail mail. If you have an email that you don't check very often, please let me know so that I can make sure I send you something by snail mail. I appreciate the opportunity to serve. I didn't know when I accepted this first position it would be long-term, but I've enjoyed every minute of it, and I thank you for the opportunity to serve you. You will not get invoices for governor's goals. Those are listed in your directory, and you will not be invoiced unless you ask me for one. Thank you.
All the directions will. I'm not going to take long. I just want to say thank you for electing me to be the first Vice District Governor. And as the International Director's President Sid said, I'm nervous. I've been studying, but I'm nervous. Everybody expect phone calls soon. I'm honored, though, that I can continue to serve with the Lions Club. It is a passion of mine that's been through my life, and thank y'all for allowing me to do this.
My name is Juanita Brown. I am your second Vice District Governor, and I'm also your Global Membership Chair. So, and I thank you again. I think I've already said enough. So, are you guys fine with that?
That was on purpose because this is a team, and I'm telling you right now, we get along so well. This is such a gel team. I cannot express enough appreciation to Bob and Lorraine, who have stayed on for an additional year. I'm sure that maybe they're going to regret it in a minute or two, but for now, I mean, we don't get anything done unless we're all working together, and believe me, we work together, we laugh, and we have fun. So I wanted you to all experience what I'm experiencing every time I get on the phone or emails or whatever with them, and we get to be crazy ladies sometimes. And that's another point, how wonderful to see the ladies. So I'm going to be having a business meeting in 2 weeks at the Brighter Visions kickoff and the cabinet meeting. So all I really wanted to share with you was a few minutes of my top level mission and priority. And in essence, my job and the way I look at whether or not I succeeded is whether or not we are delivering an effective district program that aligns with the goals of Lions Club International for service reporting, membership growth, leadership development, and LCIF contributions. And we touched upon all of them here, and you're going to hear a lot more of them. So how am I going to do that? That is, or how are we going to do it? None and I. The goal is to strengthen all of